Chapter 22. Thou shalt not see thy brother's ox or his sheep go astray, and hide thyself from them. Thou shalt in any case bring them again unto thy brother. And if thy brother be not nigh unto thee, or if thou know him not, then thou shalt bring it unto thine own house, and it shall be with thee until thy brother seek after it, and thou shalt restore it to him again. In like manner shalt thou do with his ass, and so shalt thou do with his raiment, and with any lost thing, with all lost thing of thy brother's, which he hath lost, and thou hast found, shalt thou do likewise. Thou mayest not hide thyself. Thou shalt not see thy brother's ass or his ox fall down by the way, and hide thyself from them. Thou shalt surely help him to lift them up again. The woman shall not wear that which pertaineth unto a man, neither shall a man put on a woman's garment. For all that do so are an abomination unto the Lord thy God. If a bird's nest chance to be before thee in the way in any tree, or on the ground, whether there be young ones or eggs, and the dam sitting upon the young or upon the eggs, thou shalt not take the dam with the young. But thou shalt in any wise let the dam go, and take the young to thee, that it may be well with thee, and that thou mayest prolong thy days. When thou buildest a new house, then thou shalt make a battlement for thy roof, that thou bring not blood upon thine house, if any man fall from thence. Thou shalt not sow thy vineyard with diverse seeds, lest the fruit of thy seed which thou hast sown, and the fruit of thy vineyard be defiled. Thou shalt not plow with an ox and an ass together. Thou shalt not wear a garment of diverse sorts, as of woolen and linen together. Thou shalt make thee fringes upon the four quarters of thy vesture, wherewith thou coverest thyself. If any man take a wife and go in unto her and hate her, and give occasion of speech against her, and bring up an evil name upon her, and say, I took this woman, and when I came to her I found her not a maid, then shall the father of the damsel and her mother take and bring forth the tokens of the damsel's virginity unto the elders of the city in the gate. And the damsel's father shall say unto the elders, I gave my daughter unto this man to wife, and he hateth her. And lo, he hath given occasions of speech against her, saying, I found not thy daughter a maid, and yet these are the tokens of my daughter's virginity. And they shall spread the cloth before the elders of the city. And the elders of that city shall take that man and chastise him, and they shall amerce him in 100 shekels of silver, and give them unto the father of the damsel, because he hath brought upon an evil name upon a virgin of Israel. And she shall be his wife, he may not put her away all his days. But if this thing be true, and the tokens of virginity be not found for the damsel, then shall they bring out the damsel to the door of her father's house, and the men of the city shall stone her with stones that she die, because she hath wrought folly in Israel, to play the whore in her father's house. So shalt thou put evil away from among you. If a man be found lying with a woman married to an husband, then they shall both of them die, both the man that lay with the woman, and the woman, so that thou shalt put away evil from Israel. If a damsel that is a virgin be betrothed unto an husband, and a man find her in the city and lie with her, then ye shall bring them both out unto the gate of that city, and ye shall stone them with stones that they die. The damsel because she cried not, being in the city, and the man because he hath humbled his neighbor's wife. So thou shalt put away evil from among you. But if a man find a betrothed damsel in the field, and the man force her and lie with her, then the man only that lay with her shall die. But unto the damsel thou shalt do nothing. There is in the damsel no sin worthy of death. For as when a man riseth against his neighbor and slayeth him, even so is this matter. For he found her in the field, and the betrothed damsel cried, and there was none to save her. If a man find a damsel that is a virgin, which is not betrothed, and lay hold on her, and lie with her, and they be found, then the man that lay with her shall give unto the damsel's father 50 shekels of silver, and she shall be his wife, because he hath humbled her. He may not put her away all his days. A man shall not take his father's wife, nor discover his father's skirt. There are 5 items in this chapter I want to deal with. First off, clothing was to be gender specific. Men were not supposed to wear anything that pertained to a woman. Women were not supposed to wear anything that pertained to men. This was not going to be a unisex type society. There were supposed to be differences, and they were supposed to be respected. Number 2, the battlements. The idea of a battlement on the roof. All the houses that are built, I shouldn't say all, but probably all the houses that are built in the Middle East area all have flat roofs. This is not an area of great rainfall. They don't need to have to worry about having shingles up there for water to fall off of. And they would go up on top there to enjoy the cool air, to sleep, to visit, all the rest of it. But they needed to have some kind of battlement, some kind of barrier around the outside edge so that people didn't fall off. Because if people fell off, you as the owner of the house could be considered responsible if you didn't put something up to keep them from falling off. Third one, in verse 19, if I remember correctly, the idea of the word immerse means to find. So if a husband was brought up a complaint against his wife that wasn't appropriate, he could be fined 50 shekels of silver. The fourth one, if a woman, and it talks about whether or not she was a betrothed in a city, some man forced her, raped her, and when they were found, they were both supposed to be stoned. And the reason was that if she was in a city, she could have cried out and been heard. That was the assumption. You got to understand, there was always a trial. There were judges. She had the right to say, no, he made it impossible for her to cry out, whatever. But it was assumed she at least had the opportunity to cry out in the very beginning. And if it was in the field, out of city, it's assumed that she cried out, but nobody was available to hear her. And therefore, only the man would be killed. So different laws applied at different times. A woman who was betrothed to be married, betrothal was considered the first step towards marriage, and it was considered basically about as sacred as being married. Now, last item, and then we'll go back to one other, was they were not to uncover your father's skirts. And what as far as we understand, and we think we have a pretty good understanding of it, very frequently, an older man would marry a very young woman, and then he would die. And this woman that he married would be the stepmother to all of his children. And quite frequently, there would be an older son who would be much closer to the age of this woman than the father had been, and he might be tempted to marry his stepmother. Because she was his stepmother, she was related to him. Because she was related to him because she had been married to his father, it was considered morally corrupt for him to marry her, and that's what this particular law was for. It was basically considered the same as seeing your father's nakedness to seeing the nakedness of your stepmother. That's how it was go. That's what it was meant to cover. Now, the one item that you might have, we don't do today, but I was absolutely astounded to find out actually happens in not many, but in some Eastern European areas, Southeastern European areas particularly, several years ago, was the tokens of virginity. And basically, when a couple is newly married, the parents of the daughter have the right to place a sheet on the marriage bed where the couple are going to sleep. And in the morning, the belief is that as the couple have had their first sexual intercourse, there will be blood on the sheet. That particular sheet became the property of the mother and father of the daughter. And they were considered to be proof, if there was blood there, that was considered proof that the girl had been a virgin when she married. And if that circumstance came up that the husband, in this particular case, under these circumstances, complained that she hadn't been a virgin, then the family was going to be able to bring out this sheet, because they did the same thing, the Hebrews did the same thing, and they would be able to show this. No, this was hers. And prove that it was. And if the husband had lied, then there were some fines and penalties and assessments that were made against him for basically demeaning her name. And that was what the tokens of virginity were, and that's how the situation was handled. And I was absolutely astounded to find out that it still happens today.